So you would think you'd see movement. Oh, there, I'm moving, right?
But that's just
But is that slow motion?
probably not.
So hit this, and does it stop? Nope.
Okay, it says time lapse. 19 seconds. So it isn't on now.
Well, I would like us to adjourn to a committee of the whole. So we have to vote on that. They tell me in the office that we're not allowed to do that. They asked me who said we could. So if we'll start up here, all your paperwork for today's meeting is down there.
I get the Maurice.
But all you have to know.
I get the gavel.
These are on,
Oh,
right?
okay. Which one? This one?
So it should be recorded.
This one.
Okay,
Okay, then I
That
must
is a
have next
very
to you.
important piece. You
I have
know.
no idea.
That's a very important piece.
Well, whatever, it's been on for 15 seconds, so yeah.
I will.
Okay.
I didn't get any minutes. It's time we make this
We
fun,
hope
right?
we're live. We don't know. But Jennifer
Not
told,
as long as
I
it-
set this up so we could do a committee of the whole, and Jennifer told us that we can't do that. That we've been told many, many times that we have to sit at the dais. And I said, well, I've been told that we can adjourn to a committee of the whole. That we can
Hi,
adjourn
Nancy.
to a committee of the whole,
I
and
wanna
that
see
we
this
can meet
where it's
around the
written in
table.
blood.
And Jennifer said, absolutely not. Because you're not recorded.
Very sick of this township, and I've only been to 2 board meetings.
So they're saying that.
It's
I'm
the
new,
audio,
is-
it's the audio that won't be picked up. And so I asked her if we couldn't use
Well,
that mic.
Yeah, exactly.
And she
Stick it in
said,
the middle of the table.
she said, no, you can't do that.
Well, if I can't do it, then we can't do it, so we'll do this.
Where is this written in rules?
I was just gonna say.
Excuse
I
me,
do the
but-
committee. Mark, were you? Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we have to get started. Um, This is the Senior Services Advisory Board. Let's see, we have a quorum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yes. Can I ask someone please to take notes since we don't have Kim?
I'm bad too. I'm bad, but I'll do it.
Thank you. So temporarily, we will have Dana as our secretary. If you,
Temporary,
temporarily, I made an emphasis on, I put an emphasis on that.
because you know I'm not any good at this.
Okay, so review and approve the agenda. I have a couple of things that I want to make sure we talk about today. Joy Lott gave us a letter. I'd like to put it under new business. I'll take the Senior Services Advisory Board member resignation off there. There are no resignations. That was a hangover from last month when Kim resigned. So we're under 7B, put Joy's request, Joy Lott's letter. And then, under BOT update, Cheryl, can you talk about the discussion last night on 5 days?
Wait a minute.
So, number 9 is the Board of Trustees update. We always have you on the agenda. And so my question is, can you talk about being open 5 days, the discussion that we had last night?
Heating and cooling.
At that point?
Yeah.
Thank you. So are there any other additions or adjustments that would like to be made to the agenda? I move for the,
I sent you an email,
you
is
did, and
that-
it's about the event, and the event is on here.
it's on here. Okay.
Right. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Do we need a motion and then a second?
We did that.
Who seconded
Nobody
I
did
seconded
that.
Dennis, all right.
Who did it first? You?
I did it.
Judy, okay.
All right. So, treasurer's report. Oh, the minutes. Kim sent the minutes, and she sent them to us via email. Plus, I had, the front office copy them. So if you would just take a minute to look over Kim's minutes from last month. All the meeting materials are on the table up here if you didn't get them.
I didn't know that we talked about internal, we couldn't get meal passes. Did you know that? Did
Yep,
you
we-
hear that? Where was I? Who knows?
Cindy, the materials for the meeting are right up here on the table? Any additions or corrections?
I move that we approve the minutes from last month.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Kim, for taking the minutes for us. That's fabulous. Treasurer's report. It's nice to have you with us, Dennis. We missed you last month. Would you like to give us an updated treasurer's report?
No, ma'am.
Beg your pardon?
No.
Not at this point,
Not
not
at
at
this
this time, all right? Any update on the flower fund? Dennis, could I ask you to pull your mic down? It's hard with the mask and it's more difficult with the flower fund. Do we have an update?
It has not changed.
Okay,
I didn't know, I can dig it out. if you
that's all
want.
right.
Okay.
We, just for those of you who might not know, we do have a flower fund. And if someone at the senior center is in a difficult situation, we can take a recommendation that we'll take them flowers, and then Dana takes care of that for us. And this is money that we're using that was left over from when we used to play euchre and bingo.
And we're limited to $15 per time for flowers.
I would like to discuss just for a minute before we get to public comment, the possibility of moving to a committee of the whole, which would mean that we would sit at this table. I think it's easier for discussion purposes. We would have to move the microphone from the podium to the middle of the table, and hope that it got recorded. I have been advised strongly by Jennifer, the treasurer, not to adjourn to a committee of the whole, because we've been told time and time again not to sit at a table, to sit up here for our meetings, in order for our voices to be recorded and people who might be watching us on TV can hear what's being said. Now, I prefer to meet at the table in the committee of the whole, but I also like for the public to be able to hear what we're talking about, because I think our discussions are really important. And so until we have that resolved, I'm going to stay here at the dais, but I will say that I will ask Marie, who is here with us today, if she can look into a way that will enable us to sit at the table and have a conversation. We can discuss that.
I have a comment. I've
Please.
been on this committee more than once for several years, and I have never been told that.
I agree.
New rules, but they need to let us know what those rules are, so
Well, I
that's,
looked up
Dennis?
on my phone about committee of the whole, and Congress does it, so I don't see why we're not allowed to do it. I think we should do.
Even the trustees do it. They adjourn to a committee of the whole.
So
so,
why can't we do that? Why don't we do
We
that?
can vote. Would you like to vote on that?
Yeah,
I'll second your motion.
So my motion is that we adjourn to a committee of the whole, and Dennis seconded it. And is there further discussion? Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We can go sit down at the,
I don't,
Take the gavel with you.
Marie, do you accept accept that challenge of finding out why or what the?
Yes, we're gonna do public comment right now. Before you move the mic, let's do public comment. Yeah, because we have to have public comment right now.
Yeah, I think this public comment needs to be on record.
Cheryl, you want your water?
Yes.
Okay, you're welcome. Are these yours?
Public comment?
No, that was extra.
Starting public comment.
Can you turn that mic on? Is it on, Cindy? I think you have to turn it on at the back of the microphone.
Bring it to the table. It's on and it's not working. It's on and not working. Does anybody have a clue?
Well,
Give that a
a
shot.
little intentional.
Are there batteries in it? The batteries are down there. I think we, well, you probably want to be on tape.
Yeah, I'll just talk loud. Hammerhead's right here for sure. Public comment regarding meetings. You are not required to meet in this room. We have a public art committee meeting that meets at the art gallery or off-site and drinks wine. We have other committees that do not meet in this room. There's no requirement. I would have to assume that Treasurer Wilson has no idea what the rules are. She hasn't been here long enough to know. So you have the right to meet in the middle of the room. You have the right to meet
At the senior center.
at the pub.
Oh, right.
All right, so did you have other public comment?
I absolutely do.
Thank you.
Something has been brought to my attention that there is an email that was sent out to select people on this committee. And to summarize what I'm reading, I'm being accused of stealing. One of the women on this committee has taken it upon herself to write things, and I just got the copy, and I did not have time to read it before that I am in possession of additional gift cards from the silent auction. I have created sheets on my own. Yes, I did. I can do that.
Well, you were in charge of the silent auction, so.
Yes. Certain information is confidential. Jean is requesting a audit. There are many, many accusations in here that I would like to address formally at your meeting. First off. Second of all, these are accusations of my character. I am a professional. There are laws damning people, ruining their character. And I think this email needs to be made public to every person sitting here and anybody watching this video who wants to see a copy of it. My attorney will have a copy of it when I leave this room today. And you can go from there.
Any other, I would just say, Cindy, I have been quite busy, and so I have not seen that email, and I apologize for not being prepared for your comments, and I feel that personally, I'm sorry that happened, and I wish that we could have talked about whatever the questions were privately, and I'm caught off guard, and I'm very, please accept my apology for not being prepared for that.
And I left out the part of there was some cash involved here also.
I didn't get this email for one. And of all the people on the I'm on the board, I would think if there was accusations made against someone,
Candace,
I
could you
would
put
like
it
to-
on?
it isn't working.
It is
Oh, it's not working.
No, we can't. I don't know. It'll be louder.
Well, I just wonder, there are batteries over there, maybe it doesn't have.
No. There you go.
Let's just turn them all in that direction.
Where do you see the battery, John?
Right there in the wall.
Here, charger.
Shenanigans happen.
Okay, any other public comment? Cindy, we will look into this, and we will get back to you about this. I'm unprepared to discuss that, I'm sorry.
Do board members give public comment too, or do we wait until it comes on the agenda?
It's not
Marie.
I have public comment. Okay. That's usually what I do. That's true. Yeah. Okay, so you guys can hear me. It's working. Thank you. Did you put new batteries in it? or-
I just did them.
All right.
So are you still public comment?
Yep.
Yes, I am.
All right.
My public comment has to do with the Board of Trustees meeting last night. I wish most of you had been there. Judy did an outstanding job when it came to explaining what was going on and to challenge our trustees, our clerk and our treasurer and our our four legislative members and myself as to making sure that things, one, they work better than what they have been. She did an excellent job when it came to explaining to us what it was that she was told with the summer solstice, which that's a different area for her, but it's one that she works very hard at. And I personally was very impressed with the fact that she was there and that she worked. And as for the email, you guys can put this in the center so it'll work. I'm anxious to hear how it is that's going to work out.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What's going to... There you go.
Any
So
other
do we
public?
wait for the thingy, or can we do a public comment?
Goes in the
You
middle.
can talk to whoever's speaking, yes.
Because
My comments about it are, I received the email also, and I felt very offended. I felt I was being accused of impropriety as well as Cindy. And I objected highly to it. I've been on this board for 3 terms, and never has anything like this ever happened internally in our group. We've had problems with external people, but we've never had internal problems until now. And I was very offended by that email.
Right. I will just say that the committee that worked on the Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers tribute show worked really hard. A lot of work that was done by a small group of people. I will say what I know about it is that Dennis invited Cindy to join us because she's been so successful in silent auctions related to the senior center before, and that she said, it was my understanding at the beginning, when Dennis spoke to her about it, that she would take the responsibility for the silent auction. And it is a lot of work. And Cindy put a tremendous amount of time, effort, her personal money into that project. And for this to happen is shocking to me. And I'm sorry, literally, I mean, we shouldn't get to this petty place, in my opinion. You know, if I thought you had a $100 gift card, I certainly would say, Cindy, you have that $100 gift card. I mean, I'm sorry that it's gotten to this point.
Can I respond to that since I couldn't?
Yes, please.
I volunteered to do the silent auction, and I asked for help from people, and Elaine Hansen stepped up, and she was wonderful.
Amazing.
Behind the scenes, somebody else decided they were going to step in and design the bid sheets, that they were going to start some system that Jean references in here, a system that was not set up by me, not set up by Elaine, that I had no knowledge of. And I kept seeing these weird sheets appear, and these weird forms, and these weird things, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. And they were showing up, and Dennis can also confirm this, that the items that were appearing on there with bid numbers and this and that was not the work that we were doing. That was not our work. So the sheets that I'm supposed to be held accountable to were not my sheets. They were not Dennis's sheets. They were created by somebody else who had no authority to create those sheets. We had a system. Elaine has wonderful systems. Elaine has done silent auctions for huge 4-H groups all over the state of Michigan.
Right, and she's
We
very
had our
successful.
systems in order. We were met with nothing but bullcrap. But well, what about the form that I was supposed to fill out that somebody else designed after the fact? I never even saw it until after the fact. I thought that form was for the stuff coming through the senior center. The stuff, the hard items that we got went to Dennis's house.
Right,
The gift cards, and on top of that, all the advertising checks and money that
Yeah, 'cause-
Elaine collected all came through my house, and I kept track of that stuff.
right.
I had no obligation to fill out this form that I don't even know who designed, unsolicited, unneeded. I had my own tracking information.
You were responsible, we asked you.
And I'm working with Dennis.
Right, we
I'm
asked
not
you.
working with somebody up here telling me now how I'm gonna do something that they have no idea, and they've never done a silent auction.
Right,
Now, apparently, those forms are floating around, and I'm supposed to be held accountable to those forms that I did not create?
I will respond when it's
And
my turn.
under the undermining of people coming to the front desk and taking things when I say, I will be there to pick up those flyers. I come here, those flyers are gone. I tell somebody, Jenna's, I got a $300 donation from a company who does not want recognition. Put the check in here. They had Jenna go buy gift cards. After she remembered to go buy them, I sent a text to Kim and to Dennis. I spoke to Dennis. Said, Dennis will be there before noon today to pick up those gift cards from Jenna. The next thing I know, Kim has those gift cards in her possession after I told her Dennis will be there to get them. So meanwhile, she takes them home. She designs this whole other thing that I'm supposed to be putting out in plexiglass that doesn't fit the tables, not a system we're using. And I said, those cards were supposed to go to Dennis, and then Dennis is gonna bring them to me so I can put them in the file.
right, you had a system.
We had a system.
You know how.
And we
this
were
works. This is-
undermined the
this is-
entire time by
this is
another
your-
completely another
This is
system
your job.
that was not approved by anybody.
Yes, it was.
No, it was not.
It was
it was not approved by
our
anybody.
committee. It was approved by.
It was
our-
not, and I'm not arguing with you, I'm speaking public comment. Then, all of a sudden, Dennis was gonna pick the cards up and bring them to my house because I was working. So now, the cards are in Kim's possession, at Kim's house. Kim drives by my house and drops off these sheets, goes and drops them off at Dennis, only for Dennis to have to come over and give them back to me, where they should have gone to begin with. The whole undermining system that some people are working off of has created this problem. We could not do our accounting because we could not get an accounting sheet because it was already given to us. It was not given to us. Kim stepped in front of us and took it. We didn't have it. I took time off work to help wrap this up, do my final numbers. Dennis is done doing his job, his real job. He was getting ready to do his numbers. We don't have numbers from the treasurer's office because somebody stepped in and took them. But yet, your committee already got them. We have no clue. Dennis is the treasurer. That statement should have gone to Dennis. Dennis and I were prepared on Monday. From this time to this time, I will be at my office where I have access to a printer. I have access to good internet. Let's get this done. My phone blew up. 22 emails in 1 week and 9 in 1 day, one on Mother's Day. Monday, we try to do our work. We can't because somebody else has information, again, that should have came to us. But yet, it results in this slander. Now I'm done speaking. You can say whatever you want.
Can I respond?
Of course.
I have a
First of
question.
all-
I have a question. Did Jean write the email or Kim?
I did.
Jean wrote the email. Okay, so I'm not privy to any of this, so.
Kim would not write an email like this.
Okay, Jean wrote the email.
I mostly addressed it to the people that were on the committee for the fundraiser.
Which is me.
No, you're not a member of the board.
I was on the committee.
You were not a member of the board.
I was on the committee.
The committee approved all of the forms used at that fundraiser. We approved the silent auction forms that were done. That form was approved by the committee. Kim has a list of 74 items that were run through the committee that we knew the value, the minimum bid, and the winning bid. There's nothing in the winning bid because we don't have the silent auction forms that were completed that night to know how much the winning bid was. I did not accuse anyone in that email of being dishonest. What I said was, we don't have these forms. And I stated a fact, that night, the silent auction money was out in Dennis's car. That's a fact. That's not an accusation, it was.
Here.
It was not counted in the facility, in the school, like Dennis told me, the concession money had to be counted by 2 people. It was counted by Kim and myself and Dennis. And then, where's the silent auction money? Well, it's in his car. He was gonna count it the next day.
With
That-
another member.
That is a fact.
That's exactly how
So
it was
he
done
went
last
out
time.
to his car, got the money, brought it in, and Kim and Dennis and I counted it. Then when we met at Kim's house on Monday, Dennis said he found some more cash that was between some of the sheets.
So,
Where did that come from?
It was
Why-
between
why
sheets.
wasn't
That apparently
that-
was from your buddy Elaine.
Why wasn't that counted? Why wasn't the
it
silent
was
auction?
counted. It wasn't counted that night, it was counted later.
Why? And I,
Because it wasn't counted that night.
Because
You
it was
counted
stuck
later.
between
What, do you want me
papers.
to keep it?
the only 2 items that are still outstanding, keeping the committee from writing a final report, are the ads information and the silent auction information. Those sheets from the silent auction belong to this committee. They don't belong to any individual, and they belong to this committee. And at this point, we don't know, because Kim said she has an accounting of 74 items. She doesn't know how many more sheets there were for the gift cards because Cindy wanted to write up those silent auction sheets on her own, which she did. So we don't know who they were for, how much they were, we don't know the value, we don't know the minimum bid, and we don't know the winning bid.
And again, you're impugning our honesty. Why do you have to know? Our silent
Because-
auction committee people had to know. You don't have to know. You're
Yes,
not
I'm
part
part
of the
of the
silent
board,
auction.
Dennis.
You're not part of the silent auction
These
committee.
I was part of the
Not of the
committee,
subcommittee for silent
I
auction.
was part of the
You
committee.
were concessions. Stick to concessions and keep your nose out of the rest of it.
No, I was part, Janice, I went to many, many meetings of our committee for that fundraiser. We were all on the committee. Kim was on the committee, you were on the committee, I was on the committee, Ben was on the committee, and we were all working together. Yes,
No.
we each had our own separate
Subcommittee.
responsibility, but we were all on the committee, and when we got together, we made a group decision on the forms that were to be used for the silent auction. We made a group decision on many things, the parking, everything that went on for that function was done in our committee meetings. And I was a part of that.
there was a subcommittee that was completely separate. It was, not even a subcommittee, it was a volunteer working on our behalf, raising money for the senior
treasurer.
center with the treasurer during the silent auction. Now, if there was not communication between your committee and our volunteer who is doing the silent auction about forms, and they have their own system, it seems to me that the issue is no bigger than finding out if you have a question about 2 things or 3 things, how they were recorded on their system. I mean, it sounds like you have almost all the information, but 2 or 3 things, and it's a matter of communication. What are those things that you're missing? What are those things that you're missing? And can we have that data? I mean,
Can we back up? Kim presented a list at a meeting that I was at to the subcommittee of this board. She presented a list of items that she had listed. Dennis flat out said, I don't know about this. This is not right. This is not right. And then after that list, a lot of those items were combined into baskets. So that item that she may have listed on her list,
because
the
it
item
came in,
number,
right.
it went into a basket
Right, we
for a
went,
completely different price.
Right.
And then on top of that, in the process, yes, we did get ticked off at being undermined and masterminded and controlled by somebody who has no right to do that to people. And we threw our arms in the air for a little while. I gave all those bid sheets to Elaine Hansen so she could do thank you notes. I went through them with her to state the people that I brought in who do not want to be on anybody's mailing list. The only reason they donated is because I asked them to.
Right.
They do not want a thank you note. They do not want their name out there. A lot of them doesn't even have a donor's name because they don't want the advertising. They don't want people contacting them. They did it for me, or they did it for Elaine, and they don't want the names on a master list and being contacted. Elaine had those papers. Elaine was going through them doing thank you notes. Elaine turned them back over to me. I was getting ready to turn them back over to Dennis.
As it should happen.
And the problem we have now is they have all been separated. We had them by bid number. So if she bid on 10 items and her bid number was 8, those sheets were all stapled together.
Right.
We knew what was what. Now they're all separated. So now we got another problem. And when Kim claimed that there was a gift card list missing from Leanne Marie's salon, we spent hours trying to go through and figure out what she's talking about. Is that still on her list of missing items? The Leanne Marie gift card?
I don't have a list.
Well, how can you make an accusation if you don't have a list?
I, number one, didn't make an
You did.
accusation. No,
You
I
did.
didn't.
There's gift cards missing. What are they? There's a gift card missing. There's other items missing. What are they? I'll tell you exactly where they are.
They're missing from this list. They're missing
From
this
Kim's
list.
imaginary list?
No, it isn't an imaginary.
It's inaccurate, and she was told that from day one that that
And
was
she wasn't in
inaccurate.
charge of the silent auction.
Dennis
It was
told her
Cindy
flat
and
out that is
Dennis.
not accurate. The very first, they sat right here at that meeting, and Dennis said that is not accurate.
The committee as a whole met many times. Yes, there were subcommittees. Dennis was in charge of the silent auction. This was how the silent auction was set up this year. Now, you may have done it a different way in
Who
another
set it
year.
up and when?
She is-
After you
But
brought me
she's
in?
in charge of the silent
It was-
auction, not
After
me.
you brought me in and asked me to do this, you later made these rules and didn't inform me of it, number one.
Dennis knew,
And
Dennis was part of the committee.
Dennis was not doing silent auction.
Yes, he was.
It's
I-
Cindy.
I gave it over to Cindy, and Cindy was basically in charge.
Cindy was a consultant.
He was not processing the items.
That's right, Cindy was a consultant.
She is a
But
consultant.
she doesn't need to follow the rules or
No,
the
she-
organization.
Those rules
made
were
by our
never
committee.
She
presented
is
to
a
me.
consultant for the silent auction. She's running the silent auction. She's in charge of the silent auction. She has her own system. She has her own forms. She has her own, that's her job. That's what we asked, that's what Dennis asked her to do.
Our committee made
She-
organizational.
She's prepared to give
Kim was told
your,
that, Kim was
give
told right
Dennis-
out of the gate, that is not accurate.
she is prepared to
Right out of the
give
gate,
Dennis,
at your meeting, she was told that's not accurate.
she's prepared to give Dennis the final results from the silent auction.
Well, then maybe our committee, when we meet, can finally come up with a final report.
Right, well, you will be able to.
What is
It's
missing
2
in all of
months
this?
later.
It doesn't matter.
What is
It's
missing
passed.
is this, is they think I have silent
But-
auction items.
Okay,
They think I have silent auction items. And let me share something with you, so you can take this back to Kim, who believes that I have a Lee and Marie gift certificate.
she never told me that, so I.
That's my old salon. I don't pay
know.
for anything in there. Why would I steal a gift certificate?
I don't know anything about that.
She has accused me over and over and over.
There were a couple of items, Cindy, that did not get bid on.
Right,
And that may have been one of them, but they were not gift cards.
there were no Lee and Marie items not bid on except for the
Okay, I didn't,
tiny tanning package that she bought.
okay, and I don't know, I have no idea. I
There
do
wasn't
know.
one for hair?
There was not one for hair.
You know, I'm just asking because I thought I heard somewhere that there was one.
Okay,
What
so,
Kim
That's
thought,
the rumor going around.
but Kim, yes, that's a,
okay, so
yes, that's
what,
the rumor.
how do we get past this? I mean, because it's happened, I know we need to discuss this.
No, we need to
within-
also discuss the gift card that you think I have too,
For Twilligers,
for Twilligers.
you can forget it, I'm gonna go buy a.
No, you answer the question, don't divert it. What do you think happened? What do you perceive? What do you
called
think happened?
Shirley called you,
Shirley no-showed me for a pickup twice.
she called you,
I called her, we scheduled a pickup twice, she no-showed. It was the last item left. I said, forget it, I'll just buy it. Apparently she doesn't want it. I bought it. I turned the money in on the last deposit. The money is there. You
For
later came
item-
back to Elaine
for
and said,
item number what? What item was it?
I don't have it
You,
with me, it's
you
at home.
just said Twilligers, so.
It's at home, it's at home. In the sheets.
So,
That's why I said, I requested an audit be finished, be done, to fill this in, what was the winning bid?
I think that, if I might, I think that we need to have a final accounting from the silent auction. And I'm sorry that I feel your email, even though I haven't read it, was premature. I think we have to allow Cindy, who did a phenomenal job with the silent auction, working with Dennis to come up with what the accounting is for the results of the great work that she did. We always make a lot of money on the silent auction, and it's a great benefit to our overall fundraising goal, and we couldn't do it without the knowledge, experience, background, and wisdom of Cindy and Elaine, who've done this for years in the past, and I'm terribly sorry that this has happened and caused such bad feelings between 3 or 4 of you.
Right.
And that's no good for us as a team, and again, I'm apologizing. I would like to be the mediator, if that is acceptable to you. Cindy and Dennis, is that acceptable to you?
Absolutely.
So that we can look, when you have those numbers, we can look at them, make sure that all the items, however many we had, are accounted for. I hear what you're saying about baskets. I gave things that went into baskets, so I know how that is gonna, I know how, that might be a missing item because it went into it. I would be happy to mediate, to help you with this, and I apologize for what happened, and I would ask that we take a pause while we get the final numbers, and then we sit down again.
I agree.
Is that agreeable?
Oh,
to
we
you?
have other problems in here too. She accuses me of mishandling money.
okay, well, hang on just a second. Now, in this list that you're trying to account for, Dennis has already been told us that some things were not correct. Is that true? That you?
The list that she's talking about, yeah, there were things,
Kim's
several
list-
items that were
Kim's
put in
list
baskets.
Okay, so
Kim's
they
list
can
doesn't
be
have-
accounted for, right?
Oh, they can be accounted for,
Okay,
it's just
okay,
the
you know,
bogus
that's,
list.
okay, so bogus list. Okay, so let's continue.
Okay, my only comment with this is Dana was part of what was going on. I bought an item, but I also left extra money. So if you're gonna be doing, just understand
Yes, there was, yes.
there was extra, which
Yeah.
I don't
We had a
have.
whole entire donation.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and I documented that. I
So
believe.
Cindy, I'm really sorry.
Yes, you
Please
did.
allow me, you
So I
know,
just wanted to throw that
just,
out.
please allow me to help work this out. I would never wish you, either of you, who I feel are great leaders in our community, to be disrespected or not trusted.
Feel
And-
disrespected even.
Feel disrespected and untrusted. And your service is amazing. And it's people like you who make us strong. And I'm very sorry that this has happened. And I will help us work through this. I promise. If that's okay.
Absolutely agreeable to me.
And you know, Cindy, I have to wait till after tomorrow.
I know you don't need this today, I know.
But I will. I will be there. Mary,
No, that was my only comment, that when you go through it, there's gonna be extra money and I'm one of them.
Yes.
If I had it to do over again, I wouldn't do that.
No, it went into a donation, Bob.
It went into donation.
Because I did something
You did.
and.
Yes, you did.
Somebody made sure that they knew that there was extra money there. I don't
Okay.
remember what I
And
did.
it
I just
came
didn't
out
want
of
to
the
be
cash box
part of
and
the
went into the
problem.
donation box.
Okay, because like I said, I don't remember what I have. I can't remember what
I
I did.
have that on the profit loss
Okay.
that shows the
Okay.
donations.
Okay, great,
That was
okay.
my only
All right.
comment.
thank you very much.
Thank you guys for your work.
Yes.
Now, I need to say something. We did have a committee.
There is a fundraising subcommittee for
Yes,
the
we did,
event.
For this event. We did have a committee, we made decisions as a committee. I feel that the subcontractors or the people should have followed the program that we set up.
Or should
because
have been
we
given
set-
But she's a separate, she's a consultant, she works on her own. We can't set up a system for her auction when she's working as an independent
Sure we
contractor.
can.
After
This is the
that,
way we want
after I
it
agree
run.
to do it and I've already started, then you're gonna come back and set up a system and not notify me? I never
And
agreed to
Elaine
it.
told
We
me,
told you no.
and Elaine made a comment to me, I know Elaine has run a lot of them, and she said, she's never seen one like this. And
As good as this.
no, that's not what she said.
I-
And why this is still an open item 2 months after the fundraiser. 2 months.
Elaine doesn't understand any of that, she's confused, she's questioning that.
I'm not talking to
Well, you just
her.
said, Elaine said, she's done a lot of them in the past, she's never seen one like this.
No, it
She
should have been wrapped
She
up
does not
that
understand
night.
why it took so long.
That
Elaine
night
said
should
that?
have been wrapped up.
Elaine said that?
All of the slips should have been totaled, the money should have been counted.
You can't, because you didn't have people there to pay for them, obviously.
No, there
Sure.
were some outstanding.
No, could you answer my
items.
question? Elaine said that to you?
There were some outstanding items,
Right.
yes.
But
But
you
the
can't write
items,
something up that's outstanding.
but the items that were sold and the money that was collected should have been counted that night. That's all I'm saying,
I
and
have
I
one
find it
question.
really strange.
Elaine said that to you?
I'm not commenting.
You did say that.
You did
I'm just
say that.
confirming
Is
you
that
said
what-
that.
That's what she said.
That's all
Okay,
she's
so
asking
yes,
me.
the answer is yes.
That's
Okay,
all she's
thank you,
asking
that's
me.
all I wanna know. What time
That's all
is
she's
it?
asking.
Well, you also commented here that you think the silent auction people should have stayed to count the money. You're talking Elaine. Elaine and I are the ones who collected the money. You want Elaine to stay late, then you want also Judy to stay late, because Judy was collecting money for tickets. So you want her to stay later so she can count the money for tickets. That's basically what you're saying in this email.
Yes.
You want all these people to stay late, count their own money.
And
then
we were
there's
all
this
ready to
room.
go home, and we were all ready to go home.
And I've been working since 9 in the morning.
Right,
Well, so was I.
enough. I'm gonna,
You know, but before you drag me through the mud, I think, number one, you need to read the email.
me,
Yeah.
drag you through the mud.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I didn't intend to.
I didn't hear you say.
I didn't hear her say one word.
Dragging you through the mud?
I just quoted you.
She just said she'd be meeting with you.
Call Elaine Hanson. Have a great meeting.
See you this afternoon. All right, so, public comment, old business. I would really like to just move to a few things that are on the agenda. I actually have to be out of here at 2:30. I would like to move to item 6D, update on the architect. The architect's contract was signed on June the 9th.
Great.
He has asked me for a meeting later in the week. He will either meet with us, he hasn't gotten back with me yet, on Thursday or Friday. If anyone would like to meet with the architect when I meet with him, that would be great.
Love to.
I will suggest that he come to lunch on Friday so he can see the operation and bingo. Friday's a big lunch because afterwards we have bingo. And for him to see how the center is functioning. We had asked a year ago for the township board to hire an architect so that we could use his data in order to develop our proposal for the planning board for our community CIP application. The deadline for the CIP was May 26th. I met with the planning board and Karen and several others, and they changed the deadline to June 26th. The architect being hired on June 9th, and our first meeting with him being on June 23rd. There's no way that he will have the data for us for a June 26th submission of a CIP proposal. When I met with Karen and Taylor and Cheryl, the planner was there, Miles, I talked about the fact that there are 3 pots of money that expansion of the senior center could come out of. The CIP is one way to access money for the expansion. The American Rescue Act plan money is another, the American Rescue Plan Act money is another way. We received $1.3 million from the American Rescue Plan Act. The township did. We had that, all of that money has not been spent yet. The Board of Trustees has asked for an application for American Rescue Plan Act money by July 17th. So that gives the architect until July 17th. Dan, the chairperson of the planning board, Dan Kramer, said that because the township board took the conversation and the architect money out of the American Rescue Plan Act money, that is the money that we should access for expansion. The third option for funding for the expansion is the regular budget, the township board budget. They have a budget for the senior center, they have a budget for the rec department, they have a budget for the parks department. So we can work to meet that goal, which I think is more realistic, that we could know that that budget will be decided by the end of December. The budget numbers go into the thought process, the planning process, in the middle of the summer. So if we could get, by August 1st, the numbers from the architect, then it's quite possible we could put the expansion numbers in the real budget that's developed by the trustees for implementation on January 1. So there's that budget process too. So we have there's three processes to look at, and so I'm not really worried about the CIP. I've asked Karen on several occasions if we could meet, she and I. First to talk about collaboration, because that's one of our goals in our plan, is to work on developing collaborations and partnerships. But it's difficult, and the reason I wanted us to meet with Karen is so that we could define collaboration and what her expectations of us are. For me, if we're going to collaborate with, let's say, the public library, we would be talking about programs and services that we could do together at the senior center for our seniors. And to have a meeting about a partnership or a collaboration, the person who's running our senior center needs to be at the table. That's how you develop collaborations. So I've asked for a meeting several times with Karen to talk about collaboration. I also asked her for a meeting in which we could talk about the architect now that the contract was signed. Karen is not willing to meet in person with me any longer. She has told me that that I have disrespected her, and that she will no longer meet with me in person, and that if I have something to say to her, I can put it in an email, and she will decide how she will respond. Makes it very difficult for us to move forward. The reason I wanted to talk to her about the architect is that we had a community conversation at the request of the Township Board, and several items came up in the conversation related to expansion of the senior center. And so what I did was I went through the community conversations that Doak did for us, and I pulled out everything related to expansion. And I will discuss these things, we will discuss these things with the architect, because that's one of the things he's looking at. I reminded the board last night that expansion isn't just about physical space, but expansion also refers to us using the facility to its maximum economy. The facility is there. If it's open on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we're paying someone 26 hours a week, then we should be maximizing the hours at that center. It should be available 9 to 5, 5 days a week. We should be able to go in there and get a cup of coffee if that's what we want, you know. But, never mind. The architect should look at us, the usage of the facility as well. And he should be able to emphasize that we need to spread those hours out in order to maximize the use of what we have right now. How can we need to expand if we don't even use what we have except for 9 hours a week, right? So, I will be meeting with the architect when he's ready, probably on Friday.
Question?
Can I just finish?
Yep, go ahead.
Karen, when I asked Karen about the architect, she said, well, I have what I want, and I've told him. And when you meet with him, that's fine. So I have no idea, that's not true. I would imagine that Karen has told him to look at the issues that Mary is having in the kitchen. Not enough refrigeration, the need for more freezer space. Karen is interested in a takeout window so that we don't have a line of people served before us in the dining room. So I would imagine that those are the things that Karen has asked him to talk about. And on Friday, I'm sure he will be able to tell me if he's able to answer her particular questions to meet the deadline of the CIP by the planning board of June 26th. Maybe that's why he's working real hard on that aspect right now. I don't know because I haven't met with him yet. But I will say that in our strategic plan, which we have followed all along, it says, Goal 5, expand the senior center. Develop cost estimate and conceptual plans for expanding the senior center at its current location. And it gives, and we all agreed upon this, the primary responsibility is the Bath Township administration. And as its secondary responsibility, that being the Board of Trustees. So at this point in our life, as the Senior Services Advisory Board, and the expansion and the CIP process, I'm willing to sit back and let Karen take what she's getting from the architect to the planning board, and then work with the architect to look at the other issues related to expansion and go for one of those other deadlines. And so I just have to put that on the table because it's all of our responsibility, but in the development of the strategic plan, we've actually given that responsibility to the administration and the trustees.
My question was, you read that about at our current location. Will the architect, if he doesn't see it feasible, will he be also looking at other property owned by the township as a possible building a new senior center?
It is supposed to be in his contract,
Okay.
and I will discuss that with him. I haven't actually seen this contract that was finally signed. So it is supposed to be part of his contract, yes. Marie?
Very well done, except I have a question.
No, I'm happy to answer your question.
No, I know you always are. Are you looking at a two-track? In other words, you'll have the CIP, or you'll have staff talk with the architect and what the staff or the township wants. Then they'll look at what the advisory committee wants for expansion. I'm trying to understand. So
No,
is
what
that-
the conversation said, as it relates to expansion.
Yeah, that's
I
a
mean,
two-track.
what Karen is interested in is
Right.
the needs of the kitchen. The senior center expansion conversation, the conversation around expansion had to do with the fact that when we put the kitchen in there, we took 240 square feet away from the senior center, where we had a library and we would watch movies and you could go in there and pull a screen and have a private conversation. We don't have that anymore. And when the community speaks about expansion, they're speaking in those terms. And it's quite possible when Matt, the architect, looks at the kitchen, it will be very easy for him to see that if we carry that expansion off towards the cemetery, we have so much land and we can do this at the same time.
No, I understand that part, but when you talked about bringing the architect to staff, and they would then in turn
No,
look at what they wanted, what.
I said
Karen-
nothing about staff.
Well, Karen is staff,
Karen,
yeah, Karen is staff.
she's already met with him.
Okay, well, what I'm asking is, if that track, he'll talk to what her needs are and what she wants to see, her vision of the senior center. Then the vision for this advisory committee will be in addition to,
It's in the
So-
contract.
oh, no, I understand. So that's a two-track piece that you're looking at. One is with staff and one is with your advisory.
Well, it's,
Committee. Am I too simple? Is that?
one's a community, but we are growing by leaps
Yes.
and bounds. And so we have to accommodate that in the kitchen.
No,
First,
I
I mean, that's what Karen is saying,
Okay.
that she wants to look at the needs of the kitchen
The
first.
kitchen, okay.
Right. Not that any other needs are being ignored.
Oh, no, nobody's ignoring anything. All I'm thinking of when I'm looking at this, is that's a two-track decision on how you want this to work out. And one is to allow the staff to say what it is that they want, and then turn around and look at what you want.
She signed the contract.
No, I understand that. So, it's
Yes,
not a bad
right.
thing to do, but it is a two-track.
It is.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure I'm understanding how the process is laying out.
All right, so I wanted to talk about that first because that's important as we move forward. We all need to know where we are on that. Second thing on the agenda that I really think that we really have to talk about is I will ask Sherry for a report on what happened at the Board of Trustees meeting last night when they discussed the opening the senior center as a cooling center.
I got ganged up on. In hindsight, I look at it and I was railroaded by the rest of the people there. That was planned ahead of time. When I said I want the senior center open, yes, for a cooling center was a part of what I meant. And so they came back with this federal cooling center cost, etc. That was not my meaning. Until they've rented it out these days, it's not possible. Again, I was railroaded with that. It's rented out. It shouldn't be rented out for $100 or whatever the hell it is, so that we can't have seniors use it. It should be we need more room, yes. I think that's a part of it. But
So 2 weeks ago, Cheryl, you asked the Board of Trustees, you made a motion to the Board of Trustees that the senior center be open 5 days a week.
Right.
And Brenda said, you mean as a cooling center? And in the course of everybody's
Sure.
shooting questions at you, you said, sure, and that's what she wrote down.
Yep. and
So
it
then
became a-
Karen never talked to you. She
Oh,
never
no.
talked to me. She never talked to anyone else. She decided that that meant that you wanted a federally recognized cooling center. And so what Karen did was she put together the projections based on a lot of data and a lot of research she did into what it takes to create a federally recognized cooling center. In addition to saying there are 9 others of them in the township, and that Sherry was asking the board to hire a full-time director for $65,000 a year, which included benefits. So then the discussion went from there, and I said that the concept that Sherry had brought forward, I said at the beginning of the meeting in public comment, was not, she was not asking for a federally recognized cooling center, but a drop-in center. That the senior center be open 5 days a week, that, you know, we're paying 26 hours a week to Jenna. She's in the senior center Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 to 2, 10 to 2, and 10 to 3. And that she has all these other hours, and why couldn't she work on Tuesdays and Thursdays, those other hours? And the reason given was because we have it rented out for euchre.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Yes.
You
And
were,
Texas-
you were
Texas
the,
Hold'em.
you were the
I'm the
rich.
coach.
You were the rich.
Oh, and then I got hoodwinked because
And the
I-
Texas
And
Hold'em.
then, and
That's
also,
another.
and then also on Tuesdays, there's Texas Hold'em.
And euchre, they alternate.
And
And there's the AA meetings in there, which is.
But that's
at
at
night.
night.
That's
at night, so
That's
that's
at night.
private, but it's, you know, to.
But these are senior activities that she's talking about. These are seniors who are in the senior center, and I'll tell you, I haven't asked Nancy this, but Nancy, answer my question. If the center was open and some staff person was there, it could be Jenna, or it could be the dishwasher, if someone was there,
And keep.
and seniors came in to have a cup of coffee, play a game, do a puzzle, would you be upset?
No, I would not object to that at all.
And if it were open, you wouldn't have to be paying to rent it.
Oh, I never thought about
Yeah,
that.
she would, because she's playing for money.
All right,
Right.
so
She's paying for money, so she would still have to rent it. But she's not technically renting the building. She is paying the senior center $1 per person that plays. So if you wanna call that $20 a week rent,
I reserved the building. I put down $100 deposit and reserved the building
And
every
she-
Thursday, and then on top of that, pay $1 per person at a time.
And what they led me to believe in the meeting was it's rented to you, and therefore no seniors can walk through the door. It was totally, right, I mean, no,
Yes,
that is
you
exactly
got-
what I was
you
told.
got railroad over that too.
I got railroaded over all of it,
Yes.
but that's the way this freaking
Absolutely.
board works. And
Absolutely.
I'm
Well,
embarrassed
it's
to be
not
called
the
a
board,
Bath trustee.
it's not just the board. We have
Oh,
staff.
no, the
Right.
staff is the worst, they're the leaders
So-
of this.
That's
I'm
what happened
sorry,
at the
but
board meeting.
it was
Right.
awful.
Right, and they tabled the discussion, they tabled the decision for 2 weeks,
So that
Till-
Karen,
till the 17th of July.
17th of July.
until
that's-
Karen was gonna do something. And it's in Karen's court.
Which everything is in Karen's court, I'm sorry, but
I
we
am
have
going
advocated.
to, I am going to recommend, Go ahead, Nancy.
Court.
That's
Why
because
is
the
it not
board
in
has
force?
decided to do this. I don't, I'm new on it, and this is what I see.
And this is how it got railroaded into Karen's court.
What
from
is
her
Karen
hand.
supposed to do over the next 2 weeks?
communicate with Star,
Communicate with Judy.
Right, Karen said she had nothing to do, and so they all agreed that they would hold off for 2 weeks, and no one has
But she
anything,
had
and
the
nobody
paper.
has an assignment.
But
That's
she
what
had
happened.
the paper that stated what she'd already done. So
Yeah, there was
I-
no assignment made in that meeting. and-
I would like to ask Cheryl if you would like a subcommittee of the Senior Services Advisory Board to work with you on 5 days a week and what that should look like, and help you prepare for the meeting on the 17th?
Sure.
Uh-huh.
Now say
So
that one more
Dennis-
time.
The
Okay,
subcommittee.
I have a comment that I wanted to make. I want to make sure Karen and Taylor and whoever else needs to hear this. Last time we had this heat wave, I don't have air conditioning in my house, I don't have air conditioning in my car, so I couldn't drive around to get cool. I ended up going down and sitting on the benches at Myers to cool down. And I was there for a couple hours. Very embarrassing, because some people I knew walked by and asked, wanted to know why I was sitting there with no groceries or anything.
Can we help you, right?
And I told them the truth. I said, it's because my township, Bath Township, will not open our senior center on these hot days so we can have a place to go and interact with other seniors and cool off. And I told people that.
When I built my house here in Bath Township, it was because of all the activities here. I wanted to be part of that. At this point, I'm saying, what the hell did I do this for?
Dan?
Well, my comment is that Karen says yesterday in the meeting that you can come in and sit in here if you want. It's
Yeah.
open for you. Who wants to come in here and do nothing when you can go over there and do a puzzle, watch TV?
It's called the
Exactly.
senior center.
Last year,
Or maybe we should ask them,
When
say,
I
hey,
had-
can I go over and bring a puzzle over here to work on?
last
There you
year,
go.
Let's
last,
move in here and bring coffee and donuts and
Yep.
take
La-
over this.
last year when I asked her the same question, she said there's no reason if somebody's hot, they can't get cool at home. If they just call up here and tell us that they're uncomfortable, we will tell them they're more than welcome to come sit in the boardroom. And that's exactly what she said last night, and that's not satisfactory. So I will go back to asking you this, Cheryl, would you like a subcommittee of people to help you prepare for the meeting on July 17th?
Kick some butt, yes.
So
Okay.
is there anyone who would be willing to help her?
Well,
I
my personal experience.
can help also. Nancy, you can too.
I know.
Nancy, Dana, and Dennis. Judy, or Jean, you want to get us?
Yes, I do send the others too.
Oh,
So did you write those down, Lance,
So-
Dana, and Dennis?
so, but my only concern about last night's board meeting is, like I said, no one got an assignment to do anything, so nothing happened. And they kept asking, people kept asking, what does she do with her 26 hours? And
Nobody has
answered.
ever answered it.
So how do we get an answer about that?
No, Taylor did answer, but she said 5, 5, and 7, which is 17.
Which I said, why don't we have a punch card and say, when you go in there, you sign.
But she admitted she only worked here 17
Time
hours.
card?
It
That
still
was
gives her
correct.
9 hours,
That's
so that's
correct.
4 one day and 5 another.
That's because she shops though for bingo.
Right.
That's right, she did say that, she
She
goes
shops
out,
for
she's
bingo.
shopping.
Well,
Well,
makes calls,
makes calls.
right.
But, she can do that from the senior center.
Yeah.
Just go right up to the
And
Dollar
she
General,
opened it
come
up.
right back.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I would like to suggest that. And Cheryl, you're gonna have to call those subcommittee meetings. So get these contact information, and you should start soon, so we can kind of outline what we need to move forward. And there might be a couple of seniors, if we did it, there might be a couple of seniors at the senior center who'd like to have their input. We could always ask them.
Okay.
All right.
Don't do email, text.
Send me,
But just use the phone.
So, Sherry, do you have a piece of paper you can send, get their phone numbers?
Give me phone numbers, Dennis.
230-6930.
That would be 517.
Yep. And that can be phone calls, it can be text, get text on too.
517-242-0860.
517-641-4149.
Is that a cell or?
Yes, it is my Bath home cell number.
Nancy, if the senior center were open on your Euchre days, would that affect your invitation only?
Would it affect my invitation only?
Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
The answer should be no.
I know it should not.
There are people that you do not want playing cards, so that you would ask them not to play cards, that they could welcome into the center, that they cannot play cards.
They can have their own euchre set.
Yeah, they can start, if you wanna play euchre, you play over there with those
Right.
people.
Right.
I know it's
That's
hard to
true.
do, it is very hard to do to tell somebody to go
Play by themselves.
go play by themselves, but it is doable.
Dennis.
I don't know you.
Okay, Joy, the last thing I wanna talk about what is this letter from Joy? Joy wants to invite, she wants the senior center, but I don't know why it's coming to us. She wants the senior center, I think, to invite my daughter, who's coming home from the Peace Corps, to speak about her experience in the Peace Corps in Moldova. My daughter will be here probably the first week of August. Joy goes on to say in the letter that she thinks this might be too big for the senior center. I don't think my daughter would mind speaking to the senior center, but I'm not sure how she'd feel about a community-wide meeting.
Okay,
And so, we're not allowed to speak to Jenna, and I told Joy that, and I asked Joy to take this to Jenna, and I don't know why it's come to us.
Oh, I do.
okay, so, the first thing is, before we go any further, we need to know whether your daughter wants to do a community or just a senior center.
She would be happy to speak to the senior center.
What about the community?
Well, can I interject?
Does someone, do we need to contact her and ask her that question without it being you?
Oh, no, heck no.
Okay, so could you please contact your daughter and see if she was willing to do a community get-together? If she does not want to do one, do a community, then we'll go back and request Jenna to do that.
All right, now let Marie say something.
Mary?
No, my only thought, I understand what David's saying, but I don't know that that's a community activity. If they want to come to the senior center, obviously, I think what this is saying, and this is why I read it a couple different times, that it's specifically for seniors. So if,
No.
well, okay, then
She-
they can come to the senior center if that's something that they want, but you need to know the numbers. Because if in fact you're looking at your daughter, which I think would be a wonderful thing to do, I would love to come myself just to listen, to hear her experiences and what she's gone through. But if you're gonna open it to the community,
Well, that's what we have to decide. We can't do
Okay,
anything until we
that's-
know that
I
answer.
think anyone considering going into the Peace Corps would probably really like to come and listen.
and listen to
Right.
it. I think
But there again,
that's,
it depends on her daughter, what her daughter wants to do.
but your location is still at the senior center.
That's
Could
where,
be, it could be or could not be.
Joy thinks it should be at the community center, because it's bigger. I don't know.
And
that
then
it's
she
bigger.
says she'll have, there'll be more
Is it
people.
bigger?
So that, the question is, do we advertise this just at the senior center or do we go community-wide? And if she doesn't wanna do a community-wide get-together, then we just stick it in the senior center and just invite the
Can you
seniors.
not just say she would do a bigger group?
At the community center, who's in charge of the community
The
center?
township?
And wouldn't this go to the township?
And then Karen gets it.
Well, I think that what Joy is asking is that the Senior Services Advisory Board sponsor it. I'm not sure, it doesn't say it in that, but.
It's a mute if she doesn't, if she only wants to handle the senior center. It's a mute issue.
Right.
So I don't wanna do anything with it until we know whether or not she's willing to do, it depends on advertising.
Right, what we're gonna, what
Yeah,
we're.
what we're gonna
Or
do.
If we just do it at the senior center, it's so much simpler, and you're still speaking to a great group of people who are really concerned about the world and
Then this,
what's going on in the world, and I would think, rather than make it more confusing and complicated, the simpler the better, let's just stick with the senior center.
okay, so it's a Jenna job then.
Right.
It's a Jenna job.
That we can't talk to.
But if we do it at the senior center
Oh, I
and we
can-
have a lot of people show up, can't we just fold up the tables and put out more chairs and
Yeah.
to accommodate?
So it's a Jenna
Is
job.
it legal for me to talk to Jenna?
I don't know.
Well, you're a
Well,
trustee, so I
who
would
are
think
you?
so.
It's not illegal, there's nothing against the law, I'm respectful of Karen's request that I not
I
speak.
heard her say explicitly, you cannot speak to any staff.
I'm respectful of her request, I do not speak with Jenna except to say, isn't it beautiful outside today, or
Oh, does
I
it-
hope you're having a nice day.
Does
I didn't
Jenna
even
have
think
a
that was
device
legal, but-
here?
Yes, she does.
Couldn't we put that in her mailbox?
Sure.
So do you wanna take it on to ask Jenna to do this?
I don't even really know Jenna at all.
Well, welcome to the
So I don't know.
So what I have done, I have sent Jenna, or Karen, a request for, I can't remember what it was for, I'll have to look it up. I sent it to you and you, I think. I don't know if I sent it, I don't know. Anyways, that's what I would do, is send a request to Karen to have Jenna do this as a service. That's
we'll put it in Karen's box and
Yes.
says, please refer to John.
Yeah.
No, I don't know
Have
that
Jen
Karen's
contact.
gonna,
It's just gonna get dropped.
yeah.
But then that's the only way we can communicate with Jen is through Karen.
No,
We
I
could
don't
put
know.
it in her box. Yes, you're right. And say, please contact Joy. We feel this is better handled by you.
Can we talk to Jen, Marie? Are we allowed?
Hey, as far as I'm concerned, you can talk to anybody, but
Arrest me.
What's gonna
Okay,
happen,
you're
you know,
arrested.
I would talk to her myself. What's gonna happen?
Exactly. What's the fight?
I mean,
you're
We-
gonna go take
I get along with her,
Karen's gonna get mad at us, but.
I know.
Like, that's Jen.
but I don't think Karen has it right.
No, I don't either. I think she's been given the authority to do stuff that is
Who has given her the authority?
the board.
a board.
She has.
A certain number.
Well,
of-
actually, ours did that.
Some of the board members.
How do we correct it?
That's my biggest question. I think this is a huge,
But
yeah, it's a mistake. It's
It's a
a
mistake.
rule. I got elected.
understand, in her contract, now this is something, because the contract's written, it lays out by the Charter Township Act of 359 of 1947. Don't want to say that too loud, but because they list A through, I think it's P, of issues that your supervisor can do.
Superintendent.
Superintendent, I did that, didn't I? I do that. No, it's the
I do it.
superintendent. She knew.
Yeah.
But that's okay, I do that all the time. They always tease me about
But
it.
they have her list of,
But that list includes a lot of things that a superintendent can do. And one of those lists is the employees. She is the HR person, which never made any sense to me, but that's what she is. So it's the same thing of when our deputy treasurers and our deputy clerk is hired, they're hired as employees. So she has control over it, and that's why she says you can't talk to the employees because she's in charge, because the board, and they did just renew her contract, so she's good until 26, I think, is what it is. But you really need, I mean, that appendix, it tells you what she can and cannot do.
I
And it's everything.
Okay.
It's total control.
Okay, so I have written a note to Karen on Joy's letter, which is it was dated because
Come here.
Joy came here and had them dated. And so I've written a note, the Senior Services Advisory Board were like, Jenna, to work on this as a presentation at the senior center, please follow up, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so,
Wait, please follow up by,
doing exactly
By a certain
what.
date.
you have to
No.
put on there your time frame.
And what you want her to do, don't just leave it.
it says in here what she wants done.
Does it, okay, if it
Please follow
explains.
up and see if this is possible.
But you do need a time frame.
Did you get a copy of this?
Yeah,
Okay.
which, when I read it, I really wasn't sure, which I'm sure is what you'll get. It's not gonna be understood.
So I'll just say by our next meeting, July 17th.
Okay, by the next board of trustee meeting, which
Well, that's-
again,
yeah.
just know that on that date, we have a special meeting or a
It's
work
actually
group
the 19th.
at 5 o'clock.
Right.
Okay, now
Addressing
also,
the board.
This is gonna change it to the 19th.
Okay,
also, I could give up my Thursday if you wanna do it on a Thursday.
Right, I mean, the center's available
you
to us.
can work it out.
Right,
You can
5
work it
days a week at least. Okay, so,
Yeah.
I hired a builder. And I am going to build my house.
All right.
I can't spend all my time on this stuff right now. That's why I asked you to chair a subcommittee to work on that issue. It's good to have Jenna take care of this. So I'm gonna step back a little bit,
Okay.
just so I can get my house started.
Okay.
And you just have to understand that. I will help resolve that issue with Cindy and the option. But I can't commit to doing much more than that. But right now, I have to go set up the park.
Okay.
We're having a festival.
I make motion to adjourn the meeting.
So, Dana calls for adjournment, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, we are adjourned.
Okay, now what are you saying?
And I'm gonna bring a buddy to help the guy.
Beg your pardon?
I'm bringing a guy who won't be there before or early.
Yeah, oh yeah, that'd be fine. So we're gonna be down at the park, a bunch of us at 3, DPW's hopefully meeting us down there, with tables and chairs. 4 o'clock, everybody's coming. Who's gonna be a vendor? The show starts, the event starts at 5, the band is 7 to 9. We're cleaning up at 9:30. We'll be very tired at the end of the day, it's hot.
Okay, and I'm also remodeling, so I'm right where she is, except I don't give a shit anymore.
I'm Dana.
So it's good for you to be at the meeting. Has his name
It is.
Alan Ingram. Who's that? Ingram Home Builders.
Oh, your guy?
Ingram Home Builders.
But I passed my first inspection today, my mechanical inspection. That's the first one, so I'm like.
Now, what are you rebuilding?
Whole house. Whole house. The whole house. Now I know why everything is expensive, because I have such a big house. I was real happy with this 5,000 square foot home until I'm getting prices.
Are you silly, you?
$28,000 for flooring.
How much?
38.
That's about right.
And I'm just doing 400 square feet.
So I'm doing 5,000.
I know, that's what I'm saying, I'm only doing 200 square feet.
I'm not happy.
Should be. Did you contact Morgan's dad?
No, we have not done that, because I told David, he wants me to give him the little house so
really
he
need
can borrow money on it.
Even though
And I
we're
said,
very
"No,
quiet, we
you're not
still
getting
need.
any
He's
more
already
money."
getting to your house.
I said, you're not,
Where are you
I've
building?
been trying all along.
not building, it says, where you
So
live
it
right on Chandler across
Just
from.
went smoothly.
You know, I live next to Hong Kong,
You're a remodeler.
Yes. No, no, it's a.
So your address is,
Taking it?
your address is Champion?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Eagle Eye is there, Hawk Hollow, we just sold 2 acres beside our house that hooked up to Hawk Hollow, so we got 2 acres.
So he's
and-
gonna expand it.
Yes.
Go
That's Dan Drive,
Grand Drive, so it's on the other.
it's on Chandler, it's before Robert's Lane.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
the
said
first
she
and
said.
second house past.
Judy, do we need us to bring anything?
Hawk Hollow.
I need you
Hawk Hollow on the
to
left.
tell me how to shut this off.
And they had a big
Did you read it
subdivision.
first?
And then there's
Do you
Eagle
know
Eye.
anything about it?
Yeah, the golf course
Well, and she may not
On
have.
Chandler.
on Channel. So it's,
Across the road, on the first and second house south of Hawk
Or something
Hollow.
she doesn't want us to see, obviously.
And she accused him of
all right.
I don't think I did that.
Something else going in.
Yes,
Maybe
there is,
because
I just sold that property, there is.
I had a couple other people read it.
Okay,
Say, I need to
now
know
I'm-
what you
okay.
think of this.
That
And
was our
everybody
property
says,
we sold.
"That's
Just
exactly
wait.
what it sounds
Yes.
like." So she may
Stop.
not have intended it, but that's what
Raise your,
it was.
wave your hand, wave a hand, no,
Yeah.
still chafing.
Really what?
Where's it, where's the camera?
I mean, I'm gonna volunteer.
Stream,
Yeah.
record,
They've been
click to share, camera,
tons of them.
Yeah, I know
turn
she
camera
don't
off,
say
now
that.
wave your
Because
hand.
of this person who wants to put that?
Because of.
I'm assuming when something comes up that's real important, I'm assuming you want to
And
say.
this is power, maybe camera,
We had that
pause,
property.
pause.
They
Now
wanted to
wave,
control
still